Hi, everyone. This is Wendy with Cole in the Community, and I am so excited here today. I consider Dr. James Williams not just a colleague of mine, but a dear friend. We've known each other for
Thank you.
years, and it's just so neat to watch us both grown up and in
Yeah.
our own professional fields now. And it's just so exciting to have you, James. So thank you for joining us.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad to have you. Have you or be here. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
I can say it right.
Yeah. So, James, do you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do?
Yeah. So I am the Chief Operating Officer and National Pre-ETS Director for a company called Bloom Consulting. We're based in the Austin area. So we have our office in Austin. We also have an office in Houston. And basically what we do is we provide vocational services for individuals with disabilities centered around kind of three main categories. The first being job placement and supported employment. So actually helping people with disabilities find jobs directly, placing them in jobs, working with my team to do that. The second being evaluation. So we evaluate people with disabilities in terms of their ability to work and in terms of vocational pathways. Should they go to college? Should they go straight to the workforce? Things like that. We do that across the whole country, actually. Texas, Nevada, California, Iowa, you name it. We've probably been there and done at least one or two assessments. And so we do that. And then the third piece is training. So we do a lot of training for the workforce. So for individuals that have never worked before, getting them ready for employment with pre-employment training. For individuals maybe that have worked but haven't been successful, providing training to fill some of those skills gaps to get them ready so they can get a job and keep a job.
Very nice, James. And I really like that everybody needs to work. It's a really
Yes.
great thing for, just making money and having,
Yeah.
a sense of purpose,
Yeah.
all the fun things, but
Absolutely.
most importantly, money. Nobody works for
Yes.
free.
Yes. Well,
So,
and then take care of your basic needs, and our company is built on the belief that, people with disabilities can work depending on, and it's going to look different for everybody, but
mhm.
but they have just as much right to achieve self-sufficiency and independence as people without disability. So, that's our goal. And we feel like, our services are a way to connect them to that possibility.
I really like that. And so when parents are looking in for like that transitional component, James, what do you kind of echo back when they ask, when do I start this? When should I?
Sure. So, I think the biggest thing is early, right? It's the same thing for any type of intervention. ABA is no exception. And neither is transition. Earlier is always better. So, if there's never too early a time, there's definitely too late. Well, I would say too late. There's definitely later than it should be. I'll say it that way. It's never too late, but later than it should be. So, what I tell people, high school is not the time to start. Really, in early middle school, even late elementary school, students start to get an idea and things start to crystallize in terms of what they want to do. Maybe not specific jobs at that point, but what activities they like doing. Even at younger ages, kids start to role play being teacher, role play being doctor, role play being nurse, and all of those things are part of that kind of eventual growth and development of career and what career looks like, and it really shapes in people's minds what are jobs, what does a job look like, what jobs do my parents have. That's a common thing we talk about is we're a big believer in the bring your daughter son to work day kind of things, because gives it all starts to give them that understanding of what work can be and what it could look like, although it does look very differently for everyone. It's kind of one of the cool things about work is nobody has the same job for the most part.
Yeah.
um, so I think early, a big part of that too is using formalized assessment. So just saying, hey, when your kid's 12 years old, leaning over in the car and saying, hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? That's a great place to start, but that is not really an assessment. That's not a place to finish. You really need to do some formalized transition assessment, whether it's something that my team does and you do with us at Bloom Consulting, or even something you do with your school district or you do with your private school. It doesn't really matter the who does it, but really formalized transition assessment needs to be done, especially with an individual with more significant needs, especially if they have behavioral needs. We really need to start understanding at a younger age, how is that going to impact work and vocation? How, what jobs can they get? What a career field should they be looking at? And just as importantly, what jobs should they not get? And what jobs should they not, or career field should they not look at? Because maybe that's a trigger for sensory needs or behavior or other things. So really important to start that journey, earlier. I tell people I can't give an exact age, but if you're asking me about it, you probably should start now if you haven't already.
Yeah. I like that. And you know that we deal with kind of that early component. And so
Sure.
you see it on the other end, which is great. And so what can you tell our parents that typically kind of watch this channel? What would you tell a child, when they receive that first the parent to plan or tell that child what's kind of your anthem or motto on that?
Sure. So, the big piece is really starting to understand who your son or daughter is. And I know that may sound really basic and obvious, but really get to know them, get to know their interests. What are their interests? What do they seem to be fascinated by? What seems to motivate them, intrinsically and extrinsically? Are they really motivated by earning money or earning stuff? Because that's not a bad thing. That can all be a really great way to figure out what kind of motivates them to do hard work. And work is hard work. So we always tell students or parents and students we work with, for some students, just getting that first paycheck totally cements in their brain why they want to work. And that's great. That's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that being your motivator. For other people, though, they could care less about that paycheck. It's more about what they do on the job. And they really are motivated intrinsically by the feeling they get from helping people, or the feeling they get from building something or creating something or studying something. And so really start to understand the individual when they're younger. And again, what floats their boat, what really gets them excited. Because it really does vary for everyone, whether you have a similar diagnosis or not. A common thing I hear with autism is, well, everybody with autism wants to be a computer programmer. No, they don't. Everybody with autism wants to work with computers. No, they don't. I've met many people that don't actually, who have no interest in that whatsoever. And so we have to be careful because we don't want to stereotype either. Everybody with autism wants to study numbers or look at, wants to do quality control. Like, no, that's not true at all. And so it's really important that we avoid those stereotypes and we really look at the individual individually. We have a lot of folks on the spectrum in particular that really love and get into science related fields, things related to animals and investigation and different things in the real world. There are tons of careers that come out of that. And so we really want to start kind of understanding who that individual is. I think the other thing I would say too is we want to be careful that you don't really, as parents, kind of superimpose what you think they should do on them. Because we see a lot of parents do that, not intentionally, very, very much not intentionally, actually. But, for instance, mom or dad's an accountant. And so, we hear from, their son when we do an evaluation, oh, I want to be an accountant. And we ask them why. And they say, well, because that's what my mom and dad do. And it makes good money. And they said I should be one. We want to be careful not to do that, because what also happens in that actually instance, this did happen with that individual I'm talking about. He went to school to be an accountant and he failed all his classes because he has no interest in that. And so it wasn't motivating to him. He was just doing it because that's what his parents said he should. So we want to be careful too, that we're getting to know them as individuals, but we're also not imposing what we think they should do. We're really trying to draw what they want out of them. And that's hard. And it's not something you do in a day. That's something that takes a lot of time. But as parents, you have that time, with your children. And so utilize it to your advantage.
I really like that because it's very ethical and
Yeah.
it's very practical to have that person-centered planning. So we
Yes,
love that
absolutely.
uniqueness about everything that your company has to offer. So how can families get in touch with you, James?
Sure. So probably the best way I tell people is to go to our website. It's Bloom Consulting Co. all together.com. So bloomconsultingco.com. And they can go on there. They can learn about all of our different services. I tell people our website is where we update it at least weekly, I would say, if not more. And so all of our information is on there. We offer a lot of services. So the website's a great place to start to kind of, in parents' brains, organize what they are and what we do. After they've done that, I'd encourage them to use our contact form on there to reach out to our staff, say, what service they're interested in, how old their son or daughter is, where they're at. And then from there, my staff will get back with them. We respond to all families within 24 hours as a company policy. So they'll hear back from us very quickly, either email or phone, whatever they prefer. And they can let us know that in the contact form. And we'll get back with them and start that discussion. And we can walk them through all the services we do. My staff will do that. We've done that through Zoom and email, but honestly, most of that happens over the phone because it's easier to be available for those real-time questions. And so we'll be happy to do that. They're also welcome to call our office number. It's 512-537-1661. That connects to our admin team who can have that conversation as well, because sometimes parents don't know what they need, and that's okay. That's why we're here. That's not a problem at all. And so they can just say, hey, my son or daughter is this many years old. They have this diagnosis. Here's where they're at. what can you do to help me? And we get those questions, at least one or two of those a day, and we're happy to answer them. So they can reach out to us that way as well. And again, we're happy to be a resource. I always tell people we can't serve every family. We're not a fit for every family. But if what I will say is this, if we can't help you, we probably know somebody who can, or can give you a resource or a referral to somebody who can do that.
I really like that. And I know I follow y'all's page on all social media platforms, and y'all do an excellent job with webinars and stuff and reaching out to the community. So definitely follow them on their social media platforms too. And James, is there anything, your favorite kind of motto or message on what you do that you want to kind of leave us on with?
Yes, I would say, there's a lot of things I think about all the time. But what I tell people is it's kind of my approach personally just to my life. And that is that I'm confident in what I'm good at, but I'm also just as confident in what I need help in. And so I would encourage parents and even individuals with disabilities, if they're watching this, to look at that. We all have strengths, we do, even though sometimes they're a little bit hidden or they're hard to find, or we don't see how they're a strength. That doesn't mean they're not. And so find that. And once you've found that, also just as courageously attack the things that you need help with. And so if you're not good at organizational skills, that's okay. Some people aren't. Ask for help with it. Get some tools, whether that's like technology or a paper planner or a time clock, whatever works for you, whatever you need. But I always tell people, be just as confident in what you're good at, but also be as confident in what you need help with. Because I think a lot of our clients really struggle with, and this is something I struggled with when I was younger, asking for help when we need it. And it's not a sign of weakness, despite what you may hear or what you may think. It's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength that you're humble enough to ask for that help. So I encourage people to do that. And there's great people like us out there. There's folks like Cole out there that can help you, but you have to ask for that help.
Thank you so much, Dr. James Williams. It feels so strange calling you Dr. James Williams still after all these years.
Yeah, you can call me James.
You definitely earned the title for sure. So, well, thank you everybody for watching, and hope you get in contact. This is a really great resource for everybody. And thank you for joining us, James. We really appreciate your help and all your work that you're doing.
Definitely my pleasure. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.